Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to a new Let's Play with Halfjack. This is Vlad the Impaler, a game which I actually just picked up on Steam, and this will be my first time playing through it. I'm gonna turn the volume down just a little bit, because it's already retardedly low, but... anyways, let's give it a go. Alright, I should be an explorer. As the explorer, you have knowledge of the land, you are fast, on target, and adventurous. Will you be the enemy's spy, or the diplomatic emissary? The soldier is fierce and strong. Fulfill your knightly duty to the kingdom, or unlock your dark side and become the assassin. Or the mage is skilled, wise, and supernatural. Become the high priest specializing in protective magic, or the sorcerer with a thirst for destruction. You know what? I'm gonna fulfill my knightly duty to the kingdom.
My friend, I have need of your skills once again. Darkness has fallen upon the city of Istanbul. Blood paints the streets, and the cries of the dying rise from the night. The Sultan himself will not set foot within its walls until the dread curse is lifted. Holy men, knights, and inquisitors have all been sent, yet none have returned. You are the only one whom I trust to investigate this. Your cunning, your prowess, and your penchant for results are needed here more than ever. Find the source of this wickedness, and deal with it as only you can. Godspeed, my friend, and watch your back.
Alright. I'm just kind of hoping I'd be able to change my gender, because apparently I'm a chick, but you know, whatever. Alright, you pass through the gates of Istanbul on a moonless night. The lights from torches are few, and the eyes of midnight wanderers are many. A group of guards huddle around the body of a woman, her heart ripped out and used to paint a tall, bloody 15 days on the wall behind her. The weight of fear is heavy on the streets. The scent of death haunts the tight air. It is a city under siege, and the enemy is invisible. Alright. They have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. Port, square, or bazaar. Let's go to the square, see if we can't talk to anyone. You're walking through the square, searching for the head of the district guards when you pass by a man proselytizing from the top of a crate. As you walk by, the man shouts and points at you. And that is why God punishes us. Foreigners in armor with their idolatrous gods and their wicked schemes. Get thee hence, heathen. Get ye back to your land of sin and fornication. It doesn't seem like we're welcome here, and if we're from a land of sin and fornication, I totally agree. Alright. I came to Istanbul to save its people, or only a fool would claim to know what God thinks. I'm gonna be more diplomatic than, I don't know, proselytize-y here. The very words of every foreigner through our gates, he cries. You are no different than the knights who haunt our streets and the dark things which haunt our shadows. People begin to move away from the man. Yes, God judges you. He sees what wickedness lies in your heart of hearts. He knows who follows the path of righteous and who lies down with Ismeju? Oh, okay, good. I'm not supposed to know who that is. You walk closer to the man. Ismeju, you say? What is that? What does that name mean? The man laughs at you. As if you do not know, as if you did not bring the dragon with you when you entered these walls. You are a liar and blood begins to trickle from the man's nose and mouth. Those people still standing there begin to gasp and cry out. The man's eyes suddenly explode like bloody eggs, and he screams a ragged scream before toppling forward and crashing onto the cobblestones. I swear to God I didn't do that. Plague! Shouts someone. A curse, shouts another. You immediately inspect the man's body, knowing full well that no plague can kill that quickly. This man has been poisoned. But how? Then you find it. A small needle-like dart in the back of his neck. The man has been assassinated. Why? What possible gain could come from killing a pompous street preacher? Surely the name Ismeju isn't so dangerous that it's a death sentence to mutter it out loud. I gained 2 magic from that. Alright. That's not really what I was looking for, but I'll take it. Let's swing by the bazaar. You enter the tent of a bookseller in the bazaar. The owner sits stoically on a large pillow. His face is cracked with wrinkles. His beard is full of gray and black. He motions for you to sit across from him. His nephew offers you Turkish coffee. After both of you have sipped from your cups, the nephew politely asks what information his uncle can help you with. I need to know more about Istanbul, or I need to know if a plague of violence like this has ever been seen before. Let's investigate Istanbul first. The old bookseller points across the tent, and the nephew dutifully runs over to that shelf. He pulls out a particular volume and hands it to you. The cover reads, "The Defenders of Constantinople." Inside are varied accounts of the courageous men and women who protected the city in times of siege. Your favorite chapter deals with the Jackal's Lair, a hideout for the militia, hidden deep within the catacombs. And gain Constitution. Swing by the port. Your investigation leads you to the harbor of Istanbul. It is shortly after dusk by the time you arrive at the office of the dockmaster. Luckily, ships arrive at all hours, so you presume that someone will be there to help you. When you come upon the small building, you see light through the windows and knock briskly on the door. There is no response. You test the door and find that it is locked. Wait for the dockmaster to return, or break in and search for the manifests you need. We'll wait. I don't really want to begin my entry to Istanbul by smashing through a guy's door. While you wait, you watch as a small skiff quietly rows up to a distant pier. A group of cloaked men hurry off the boat, and the 2 rowers immediately push off back into the Bosphorus. The group of hoods disappear between the dark buildings, but you notice the last one toss his cloak aside as he enters the narrow alley. The man is wearing armor. They must be knights, sneaking into Istanbul from some ship anchored off the coast. You immediately head after them, but by the time you reach the alleyway, they are now long gone. You've missed your chance to tail them, but you've now learned that they are getting into this, or how they are getting into the city. Jesus Christ. That startled me. End of chapter 1. Soldier. Gained intelligence too. Alright. I don't know. Chapter 2. The evidence you've collected lays spread out on a table before you. Your meal from the tavern downstairs sits half-eaten as you try to make sense of the results of your encounters. That's when you sense the presence behind you. On instinct, you spin to the side, just as a knife passes through the air where you'd been standing. What a prick. All of your weapons are across the room, save the one that no one ever expects. You. With singular speed and deft strikes, you grapple with the hooded assassin, keeping the jagged knife just beyond the slice of your flesh, until at last, you gain that crucial advantage, and flip your attacker over onto the table, breaking it into splinters in the process. The assassin lies still. Pulling back his mask, you find a horrible slackness in his head, the result of a broken neck. His face is European. Around his neck is a silver cross with a tiny dragon curled around it, and in his pocket you find a small bound copy of the Exorcist's Doctrine, and a piece of folded paper. It is a letter with the name of the inn where you are staying, as well as your room number. Excellent, you think to yourself. If people are trying to kill me, then I must be getting somewhere. My character is far more optimistic than I am. I think maybe I'll check the catacombs, since my character was interested in the militia's shit there. Following a crude map pieced together by clues from your investigation, you wind your way beneath Istanbul, searching for the elusive king of the catacombs, a sort of boogeyman who is said to steal children from their beds at night. As you pass by cairns of stacked stones and other directional markers, you begin to suspect that someone is following you. Double back and try to catch them, or extinguish your torch and wait in ambush. I'll double back. I'll double back. No. I'll double back. You turn around and head back the way you came, drawing your weapon. It isn't long before you see a man in heavy robes ahead of you. His eyes reflect the light of your torch, and you realize that he has no light of his own. "You there," you call. "Why are you following me?" The man doesn't answer. He stands there for a long moment just staring at you. Then he begins walking towards you. He pulls back his hood to reveal a face covered in cracked white paint, resembling a skull. Nothing about this seems right, and you prepare for attack. It's only by past experience that you realize that a man painted like a skeleton in the catacombs is probably not alone. You duck just as a sharp gaff hook hits the wall where your head was. You turn to find that you are set upon by two other men in skull face paint. And before you know it, you are at the center of a vicious brawl. Only through fortunate footing and superior combat experience are you able to kill two of the men, while the third flees for his life into the darkness. In search of their bodies turns up pockets full of bones and dead rats, some half-eaten, and handmade crosses of bone and bat skulls. Whoever they are, they've given you quite a pummeling, and you head back to the surface to gather yourself back together. Right. Check out the basilica. You're visiting the basilica before sundown when you notice a group of altar boys gathered around a corner. They seem to be up to something, but you can't tell what. When the priest finally calls for them, they run off giggling and shoving each other. You approach the small table where they had been gathered around an open box. Peering inside, you find a mouse. The mouse is desperately trying to get out of the box, but the boys have covered the poor thing in lamp oil, so it's just slipping helplessly off the sides. Leave the mouse and wait to... No, I'm going to free the mouse. Remembering the mouse that you used to feed at the orphanage, you pull the little creature out of the box and put it in your pocket. Once you're outside of the basilica, you set it free in an alley. As it scampers away, you remember how difficult it can be for a creature so small to get out of going to church. More charming now. Well, I shouldn't have. The Christian girl who you hired as your guide is more talkative than you'd expected, but she's also beautiful and really knows her ways around the catacombs. My people used to gather in these tunnels after the Sultan conquered the city, she says. There was a while when we weren't allowed to pray to Jesus Christ, so we did it in secret down here. Now the catacombs have reverted back to the thieves and to the bone cultists. You follow closely behind her, asking, "And where can I find the king?" She freezes at the mention of that name. When she turns back to you, her porcelain face is deadly serious. You didn't say you were coming down here to seek out the king of the catacombs. This is not a question. You didn't say you were coming down here to seek... Oh, she's challenging on... I'm stupid. You cock your head at her sudden change in demeanor. "I need to find him," you reply. "It's important to my No," she says, crossing herself. "Nothing good can come from finding that." Suddenly she's yanked off her feet, collapsing to the ground. You draw your weapon as the girl screams, kicking at something in the darkness as she's dragged away. You hurl your torch at the thing that's grabbed a hold of her, and are suddenly struck with terror as it illuminates a large, slavering ghoul. The undead monster pulls the girl into its mouth with incredible strength, and she screams as its powerful jaws bite deep into her skull with a sickening crack. You shake off your shock and leap forward, swinging your sword and screaming wildly. The ghoul roars in defiance, but something about you seems to aggravate it. With a seething hiss, it drops the girl and retreats into the shadows. When you reach her, you find her brain half exposed and partially eaten, swelling out of her skull. "Help me," she says. I can either carry her back to the surface or put her out of her misery. She asked for help. I'll carry her to the surface. Probably her last request. Guilt overwhelms you for having paid so innocent a girl to take you down into the most dangerous place in the city. You pick her up, careful not to jostle her head, and carry her back through the halls of the dead to the streets above. She is all but catatonic when you drop her off at the physician's residence. You pay him a hefty amount of gold and tell him to do whatever he can for her. He says he will try, and you leave her in his care. As you go, however, you are unsettled by the hungry look she gives the man. Oh no, I should have killed her. Yeah, I lost intelligence. Alright. Well, oops. Alright, Chapter 3. The orphan with the eye patch scurries soundlessly across the dark rooftops to where you are perched. My imam says that the amulet you drew is the symbol of the Holy Order of the Knights of the Dragon. You eye the smudge-faced child and ask, how can that be? Why would a holy knight try to kill me? The orphan smiles with a few missing teeth and says, Crusaders trying to kill you, huh? Now you know how it is to live in Istanbul. You throw a gold coin to the child. He nods in appreciation, then disappears silently across the rooftops. You pull the silver pendant from your pouch and look at it, dangling against the skyline of the city below. Order of the Dragon. I think I'm gonna head to the bazaar and see if I can't do any more research. You're wandering through the Istanbul bazaar, eating a piece of honeyed baklava, when you notice a little girl watching you from a few tents away. She looks as though she's coveting the sticky dessert that is getting all over your fingers. You give her a slight smile of condolence. Then hands suddenly emerge from a secret fold in the tent behind the girl and pull her inside without a sound. Of all the abductions that you've been following in the city, you never thought you'd actually witness one happening. You walk over to the front of the tent, finishing off the last of your dessert. Welcome, my friend, says a smiling merchant in a turban. Are you in need of a lamp or oil? Tell the merchant that whoever is holding the girl in the tent had better release her right now before you summon the city guard. Or force your way inside and handle the kidnapper directly. Let's be diplomatic about this. The merchant's eyes darken, and he says, We are paid up for this month already, and will not submit to your order's bullying. This grabs your interest. Clearly, someone higher up in the Order is running a protection money scheme where people who break the law can continue without being handed over, as long as they pay regularly. And this man thinks you're with the Order. You look the merchant dead in the eyes, saying, You think this is bullying? You want to pay triple next time? Give me the girl. The merchant nods in acquiescence and motions for you to enter the tent. You do so, drawing your weapon. The girl and the man who took her are nowhere to be found. They've clearly escaped while the merchant kept you busy. The next thing you hear is the merchant calling to the city guard, saying that there is a thief in his tent. You've been outconned this time, but need to escape before the guards find you and decide to cut off your hands. With minimal searching, you find the secret fold in the back where the kidnapper must have escaped, and you slip through. Your heart breaks for the girl as you disappear into the crowd, vowing that the merchant and his accomplices will be brought to justice. Lost charm, gained agility. That shit ain't cool, we're going back to the bazaar. What? You have just killed the cannibal kidnapper of Bayezid? After pursuing him for 3 days, you finally caught up with him outside the bazaar, just as he had found his next victim. You lift the kidnapped boy into your arms and check him for wounds. There's a nasty bite in his shoulder, but that seems to be the worst of it. You pull your weapon out of the kidnapper's corpse, and his head lolls to the side. His pointy, filed-down teeth still appear menacing from inside his slack mouth. You carry the boy out of the hot alley and back into the covered bazaar, weaving through pillars and tents, until you come to where his parents sell their wares. His mother and father cry out in relief as they run to you, taking the child and holding him close. Thank you, his father says desperately. Heaven be praised. You've saved my little Farah. How can I repay you? You wave a hand, saying, A life spared from the horrors of this city is payment enough for me. No, replies the man as the boy's mother rushes with her son back to the tent. No, I must insist. Please come. The elixir of the Rajah from the darkest India, which will make the drinker 3 times the warrior they once were. or the drought of Hammurabi, which was discovered in the ruins of Babylon, and widely thought to bestow the drinker with the wisdom of the ancients. I'm a fighter. We'll take the elixir of the Raja. The apothecary hands you the bottle of blue glass and thanks you from the deepest corners of his heart. The potion tastes of spices, fruits, and the warm wine of Indus jungles. You can feel your muscles tingling and are amazed at how much faster your reflexes become. 3 times might have been a bit of an exaggeration. Alright, we'll swing by the catacombs. Again. As you trudge through the vast subterranean halls of the dead, you keep your eyes peeled for signs of the elusive man that you are hunting. The man which many angles of your investigation says must be down here. If you can find him, you may save countless children from being abducted in the future. As you round a bend, however, you are startled to see a woman kneeling against a tomb, softly weeping. I can leave her in the darkness, or I can help her. Oh, we're gonna be stupid about this and help her. Are you all right? You ask, approaching cautiously. She turns to look up at you, her face veiled. Gods be praised, she cries, climbing to her feet. I've been so lost in the darkness. You take her arm and help her stand, saying, These catacombs are deadly if you aren't prepared, and I believe there is a villain haunting these shadows. A man called the King of the Catacombs. The woman puts a hand to your chest, leaning on you breathlessly. Oh, he is here, she says, tugging down her veil, and he sees you even now. You gasp as the light of your torch dances off her eyes, one green and the other enlarged, red, and oozing of frothing jelly. Trapped in its supernatural gaze, you black out. You wake up much later to find yourself in a grisly chamber. Scores of children hang from the ceiling like meat, gaping holes where their organs have been removed, and terrible hieroglyphs carved into their flesh around the wounds. You cannot sit up from the altar where you lay. The woman with the horrible eye leans over you as its glistening jelly drips down onto your naked chest. The king rules from these depths, and his reign is terrible. But he is a jealous king, and shall brook not these new men who bring their own wickedness into the city. His wrath shall be unyielding. You manage to summon your voice, saying, Where is he? Where is the king of the catacombs? The woman smiles as her one good eye blinks. No one finds the king, she says, because the king is many places at all times. He is here, she points to her swollen, frightening eye, and now he is here. She raises your arm. You are horrified beyond reason when you see that it is not your arm at all. Where your arm had once been, there is now a gaunt, mummified arm, sparsely wrapped in ancient, rotting bandages. You scream in abject madness at the gruesome sight. When you awaken back at the inn, you frantically check your arm. You scream again when you see that it is true. You now bear the arm of the king of the catacombs, and every blow you strike with it will aid in returning him to the sole dark power of Istanbul. The son of a bitch. It would seem as though your deeds have caused you to build up quite a reputation. People seem comfortable in your presence and offer to buy you drinks at the inn. One particularly keen musician even sings a song about the wandering knight. With the mutant evil arm? It has less strength. And less charm. Son of a bitch. Alright. Chapter 4. I think I'm gonna pause this recording and I'll start up a new one while I keep going. I just don't want the video to be too long. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you again soon.